Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hector Hernandez, and I am a real estate fund manager as well as a wealth building coach here at reallifetrading.com. Joining us today, I got two amazing people, actually three amazing people. My co-host, amazing friend, and all-time homie, Luis Alejandro Lopez. We also have Justin Williams and his mom, Ruth. They will be joining us today as we go through the how to buy zombie homes coaching call. And essentially, Justin found some properties. They look abandoned. They look ugly compared to the other ones in his neighborhood. And he's trying to figure out why. Can I buy those? Can I add value to these homeowners' life? So that's what we're going to go through today. Luis, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
How you doing, guys? My name is Luis Alejandro Lopez. I'm a real estate investor. I've flipped almost 200 homes in my lifetime. And I'm also a coach here at Real Life Trading. So we are ready to show you how to find, how to look, what to look for, and how to basically contact new owners and try to get yourself on your first deal. So let's roll with it.
Before we get too far, please
yes.
remember to hit like and subscribe. That's very important. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
All right. So Justin was asking us the other day about how do we do when he found some couple properties that are empty, that look abandoned, or what's wrong with them. So basically what we told him is just look for a few, look for the homeowners, and we decided just to make it a complete, teaching call. It will be easier to show him how to do it instead of tell him how to do it. So he just found Justin lives in Miami Beach, and we found a few properties. He found a few properties here that are basically abandoned. Let's look for each one of them.
The one that's a foreclosure, there's really not much for us to do there, Justin. If it's already off foreclosure where the bank already owns it, now essentially we just have to wait for the bank to list it. It's going to be really, really tough these days for you to reach to a bank directly and then want to sell it. The inventory is not that big. They're going to want to go through the traditional channels, either put it on auction.com or go through a broker and have it listed that way, just because it makes more sense to them. Okay. Those strategies where you could reach out to a lender and take 5-10 off their hands was really popular years ago when they had a stack of foreclosures. Now the foreclosures are really low. They're going to want to go through the traditional channels that takes a lot of liabilities off their hands.
Correct.
Got you. All right, that makes more sense.
Okay, couple of things. First, I cannot see the street view from that property. I remember this. Which one is this one? The one that was completely boarded?
This one is the one boarded. Yeah, I can send you the picture again if you need.
No worries. Let's we'll show him in a little bit. If you can send me the link so I can show him in the screen. But what we're gonna do is just look into the property appraiser. Okay, Miami-Dade property appraiser, and we're just gonna copy the address. Usually it's easier to copy just the basics. Okay, so the property appraiser will find the correct.
Okay, and before we go too far there, for everyone who is not in Miami-Dade, Luis is at the Miami-Dade Property Appraiser's website because the particular home that Justin identified is in Miami-Dade County. But this is the case for every county in the United States of America. Not all of them have a nice, robust website like Miami-Dade, but I would say like a good 90% of counties
they all do have a good website. They some of them are more tricky to use, but pretty much everybody has the website for the property appraiser.
It's 2020. If they don't, call them up.
If they don't, the tax collector will.
Yes.
So the tax collector for sure.
And then last resort is a paid app that we use called PropStream.
Correct.
We don't make any money from pitching it to y'all. It's just what we use. And whenever there's no good questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Property appraiser, the property tax collector does exactly the same thing. If the property appraiser is slow, whatever, I'm sure the county always wants their money. So look, same thing. Plug the information here. Try to go as basic as you can, so the system will not send you an error. And immediately I got information from my owner. Okay, now we have a couple of things here. We have the folio number. Folio number will be the identification number of each property within the county. Okay, that's the number that the
neighbor.
Yeah, within the neighborhood, whatever. It's usually for the county. There's a number where they filed permits, with the number where they filed the taxes, pay the taxes, etc. So that's going to be the number that you're going to use for pretty much all the research when you start doing prop stream or you start using the MLS, for example. Okay. Then we have the property appraiser here. Let me see annual bill. Is he being paid? Yep, it's paying. There's nothing due this time. We have the owner. Let me close this one.
And there's a reason why Lewis looks for the taxes to see if they're past due. If taxes are past due, it means that they are more distressed. And typically there's no mortgage because your mortgage company is always going to pay the taxes so that you do not get foreclosed on via taxes. So that this means that either this property has a mortgage and the lender's paying for it, or this house is not complete distress. They might be in distress, but they could at least afford their $6,000 in taxes last year, and it was paid on time.
So this house is paid off basically.
No, this house most likely has a mortgage. The property taxes are due the first day of November, and you have till to the. Let's pause that one. Pause 1, 2, 3. They're due the first day of October, and you have till the end of November to pay them. Usually what happens is that the bank will get the receipt. If you have a mortgage and the mortgage takes escrow from you, meaning that you have to pay extra money for property taxes and for insurance, the bank will pay it in upfront and then charge you back. Or on the other hand, if you just bought it, they usually get extra money from your mortgage payment, and then they use that money plus your whatever monthly additional you have. They use that money to pay for the taxes. What I know usually it's that the bank pays always in November.
Yeah, right around the same date. So if you notice, they're just in the last.
If you start paying, okay, if you start paying after usually you get the whatever your tax rate is. If you pay before December 1st, you get a discount. So the bank always pays before November 31st in order to get that discount. If you pay on December or pay in January or pay in February or pay in March, you keep paying more and more and more and more. And the taxes are due in April. April is the last moment that you have to pay for it. So usually when the taxes are paid in November, that tells me that this property has a mortgage. Okay?
And that's an educated guess, obviously,
It's an educated guess, yeah. But it's fairly okay. We can look into the property appraiser and we can do into the county records to see what's going on with this one.
Any follow-up questions there, Justin, on that?
So far, so good.
Okay. So far, so good. Okay.
Here in the chat, I put the link to the image of it.
Okay, perfect. Let's have a good look at that one.
And then when you're there, Lou, also notice the mailing address. It looks like these guys don't live in that property. They actually live in my neighborhood.
Yeah, they don't live here. Definitely don't live here. And Jesus.
Do you have any idea how long it's looked like this, Justin?
I don't exactly. I believe. Let me see. My mom's trying to chime in. What?
They did a notice of commencement to do an addition in May 2021, but nothing's been done.
Okay.
Okay.
And by looking at the property appraiser, whatever has not been done, in top of that, let me see if I can zoom in. They have the cave roof and everything. You see the blue tarp and the roof?
Yeah.
Basically, the whole patio is gone. They had there's sometimes you can see the photo, you can see a date.
Yeah.
22, right there. It says 2022.
No, but you see, yeah, but just to say it's January, February, whatever. Sometimes it does say, I think that's Broward, mostly the one.
Yeah, that's Broward.
That's Broward.
So essentially what Rules is saying, a notice of commencement, for everyone who's watching this video is not 100% sure what it is. When most counties and jurisdictions in the United States, whenever you are doing construction over a certain dollar amount, it could be, depending on the jurisdiction, 3 grand, 10 grand, whatever the number is, they require you to do a notice of commencement. Essentially, it's a legal document that gets filed with the clerk of the county stating that contractor ABC is doing work with the permission of the owner and how much that the work is going to be. And that protects typically the contractor as well as the homeowner from anyone ripping anybody off, if that makes sense. And it only goes away when your contractor signs a letter saying, hey, I've been paid in full for the job and you, the homeowner, goes and reports it to the county and says, hey, the contractor finished the job. Let's close up this notice of commencement. It prevents you. It's basically a cloud on title. It prevents the homeowner from selling the property and running away with without paying the contractor.
Yeah, it's basically security for the contractor. They put is what is it will become, if you don't pay him, it will become a lien on the property. It's called a contractor's lien. And that's usually the first step that you need to take in order to pull a permit. They usually want a notice of commencement. Okay.
But can you go a little more into what a lien is, please?
A lien, yes. A lien is a cloud in the title. Basically, when you have a property, the property you physically is the property, and then you have the title. Title is your rights to your own property, meaning that it includes the boundaries of the property. It includes the legal rights to your property. So if somebody, you let's say, put a mortgage, for all of a sudden you need $10,000, and you can, hey, my house is free and clear. I need $10,000 now. I give you the money. We sign a letter. That letter becomes a lien because it technically becomes a mortgage. It's I'm giving you money in exchange of having rights on your property. When your property is free and clear, means that nobody can or have or up to that moment has any other rights in your property but you. Okay. Now there's typically different types of free and clear. For example, if you have a homeowners association, the homeowners association has certain rights within your property. You cannot paint it a different color. You cannot rent it within the rules. You need to have whatever cars. You cannot have that many amount of pets. So the free and clear means when there nobody has any type of rights within your boundaries, but still you can. There's some clause in the title, for example, taxes, homeowners association, mortgages, where you can go and resell your property and resell your rights of the physical asset and have a buyer, willing to take it from you. Okay, so that's basically what the lien is. A lien is a cloud.
And
It's something that's damaging your title, and you cannot sell it or mortgage it or do anything with it.
And let me give you
Done.
the Rocket Mortgage definition, which is essentially a legal claim against the property that can be used as collateral to repayment of a debt. So a mortgage, a contractor who you owe money to, taxes, like Luis said, HOA, all of those things can become liens. Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So
So
in
when
this
we're looking on here, I'm going to look at all the details for the property. But the main thing that I care about, right, is, hey, is this guy in distress? Is this somebody who I want to spend time sending a letter to or making a phone call to try to buy this home? Does this person live here? Number one, we already identified they don't live there. It's obviously not habitable based on the pictures that you sent. So you kind of already knew that. But typically, someone who doesn't live in a home, it's either an investment or it's someone who's done with it and they moved away. And because they're done dealing with the headache, they obviously bought it quite a long time ago.
Yeah. You're in
Um,
2003 and something happened in 17, either quick claim deed, somebody divorced, or something like that. Okay, but they own the property basically since 2003. Okay, so
so
let's
once you're here, then what's the next step, Lou? Now we want to locate the owner, right?
yeah,
Locate their
locate the owner. And here's the address, the mailing address of the owner. Okay, so let's have a good look at what that address is.
That's the easy and way to contact them. That the mailing address is where they're getting their legal information for this property. So it should be a good mailing address. If you want to cross-reference, you could then run this address in whatever county it's at to make sure that this person actually lives there. But essentially, the easy route there is send a letter. Hey, my name is Justin. Would you consider an offer on your home? There's various scripts that you could use. I'm a local real estate investor. I live down the street from the home. I would love to take this headache off your hands. There's a lot of different things that you could say in the letter, but you want to make basically, number one, connect with them, build rapport, and number two, offer them a call to action, which is call me, email me, or fax me, however you want to be contacted.
So would you always recommend sending a letter first versus calling them, for example, or emailing them?
Email is going to be the fastest way if you could get the email.
Yeah,
And
if you,
calling, it really depends. Calling and text is super efficient. We do a lot of it ourselves, but not everybody likes that. Some people get a little irritated. However, it is one of the least expensive ways to reach out to people. We're sending a letter. If you're doing this in mass, like Luis and I do, it could get kind of expensive with the letters. They wind up costing you almost $2 a piece. You're doing thousands of these, it gets expensive. But the letter is typically the more traditional way. And if you're going to go letter route, uh, make sure you handwrite. It's going to
yeah,
make a massive difference, at least the envelope. Massive difference. I get a huge difference in the amount of answers that I get when I handwrite at least the envelope. And if you're going to do that and you're only doing a few, include a photo of the home. They might not know what it looks like. And that has worked for me in the past. Again, it adds a few more dollars to your letter, but it makes a lot of sense. The answer to that question, do I recommend mailing? That's strictly up to you. They all work in various ways, and I would probably recommend doing them all. Start with a letter and an email, follow it up
mhm,
with a phone call or a text. Hey, did you get my letter? That's a much better phone call than, hey, I'm this random guy calling you out of nowhere trying to buy your house.
Right.
correct. Because remember, you wanna show that you are an exception to the rule. So I'm sure if the property's been like that forever, they're getting all kinds of texts or emails. Are you willing to sell your home? So write down a letter. So you're doing one by one. Write down your letter. Send it to this address. This is their home now. You see, they just bought this home in November. Okay. Send them like Hector saying, send a photo of the property. It's like, I'm one of your neighbors. I was by there, and I'm just wondering what's going on. If you'd be interested in selling it, and let it roll from there. Okay, I will send more than one letter as well. I will send at least 3 or 4 as a follow-ups, maybe like every week apart or 2 weeks apart. Usually with text, it's way quicker. We send them a day apart until they tell us, stop calling, and then we're not interested, and that's it. But since the mail is different, just do it, the old snail mail way. There are also websites where you can buy their contact information. If you do buy the contact information, feel free to text them or call them, but then you might be aggravating someone. So I will go by the mailing route first, especially since the home is being abandoned for so long. I mean, there's really no major competition right now on it. Okay. Or
And
the other thing you
quick
can
note
do,
on that. If you're
take a
going to
drive.
call or text, make sure that they are not on the DNC list, the do not call list. That can get you a pretty hefty fine. It's important that you check into that before you go phone. Um,
Where do you check the DNC list?
it's usually wherever you buy. Believe it or not, wherever you buy the contact from, they'll usually tell you,
I'll
hey,
tell
this
you,
number's on the DNC list.
yeah, this is not the other list.
All right.
And
And that could be done prop stream.
Props
You could
offers
use
that,
white
that.
pages. You could use peoplefinder.com. There's a lot of different websites out there where you could get someone's contact information, and the amount of trouble or money that you spend on that particular contact is how much information they're going to give you, whether they're going to give you email address or just phone number. Sometimes we get back 3 or 4 numbers for the same person, and it turns out that none of them are accurate. That does happen. So that's why I would recommend start with the letter. If you get emails, email every single email that you get. Sometimes you get more than one, and then go through the trouble of going through the phone numbers, because again, it might be a little bit of work involved in that. And plus, it gives you something to relate it to when you call them, especially when you're starting off. So we don't do these calls ourselves anymore. We hire cold callers that are experienced in making these phone calls, and the most we do is train them on our script. But that's not easy to do for someone when you're first starting out. That conversation gets a little awkward. But if you have something to talk about, like, hey, I sent you a letter, and now you're gonna feel more comfortable. At least I did when I was doing them. That's how I started. When I first started, I would send the letter and then base it all on my call on that letter. If you really want to go above and beyond, what we used to do back in the days was knock on the door too.
Yeah, you might want to do that. Obviously, go knock on the door in their home, the actual home,
Yeah,
instead of the one that this is right
that's
now.
that's a little much, yeah, especially when they don't live there. So I'll leave that
No,
up to you. But these are all ways. The main point is you want to make contact with that owner.
Now, when you're calling them and you're giving them an offer, I don't know if I'm jumping too ahead, but how do you determine how much to offer them? Like a price they're comfortable with, instead of
So
asking them.
that's the next step here on our list. Once you reach them,
Yeah.
um,
All right.
let's
So
see where
you
we
try,
are.
yeah, identify the owner. We identify the property. We identify the owners. We try to make contact. Don't offer him any money, not yet. Just try to listen to them and try to find out what the pain point is. Is the property is part of the divorce? The property is part of a foreclosure? Is the property part of a lawsuit? What's going on? Somebody passed away. Try to find what the pain point is and go from there. Your next the ideally step is set up an appointment to have a look at the property.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure that the person that you're talking to has usually you're trying to deal with the owner. You might not be able to deal with the owner. Maybe you're dealing with one of the descendants. Try to make sure that the person that you're reaching out has the actual capability of show you the property and let you get inside. Once you do that, then you go and have a good look and do a full inspection of the property. Okay, you just go take pictures of everything, uh, take a good look at what's needed. I will run a video if anything, and have a good idea of what's needed in that property. Obviously, on this one, we know that we have to do
On
everything.
this one, I would take a GC because it obviously looks like they started doing some work, and that's going to be how you come up with the estimate and how you ultimately come up with your offer amount. The main thing that you want to do when you first reach this person is build rapport. Is establish some sort of a relationship with this person. You want to come across as exactly what you are, a local person in the neighborhood who sees his home, and you're trying to improve the neighborhood and make an investment for yourself or your family. You want to differentiate yourself from the big hedge funds that are out there buying, because a lot of people do connect with people. They prefer to deal with local people, some people, not everybody, versus Zillow and the big eye buyers. You want to build as much relationship before you throw a number out there, because your number might be something that they don't like. So
Right.
And
it's hard to come back from that. As the first thing you say is like, hey, I'll give you this, and they don't like it. Now they're just gonna tune you out. But if you've already established a connection, and they're like, oh man, this is a real person, this is Justin, I've had 3 conversations with him, I've met him at the property, he brought his GC, he really did some work on trying to figure out what it would take to fix this house up. Now it's taken a little bit differently when you present that offer.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Got it. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Like you in the beginning you said harass them, but you're harassing them, but to them you're just like you're like a nice guy. You're trying to get the house, and you
yeah,
just
and
come off
I
like a
don't
normal
come as
person.
a nice guy, a nice guy. Is you're really trying to take a problem away from them and try
You're
to
adding
solve it.
value.
That's
It's
what
like
it
we
is.
say, you're adding value to their life clearly. And then if we go by the dates of the notice of commandments that Ruth found, it sounds like they bought their new home after they started this notice of commencement. So perhaps they had some issues with contractors. They got tired of dealing with the rehab, and they decided to buy the other house. So that's what you kind of want to dig into. Just build that relationship and make sure that they know that you're there to add value, not to rip them off or anything like that. That's very important. There's a lot of scammers out there, a lot. So
Mm,
make sure you differentiate yourself from them.
Seems to be a lawsuit. Oh, this is medical lawsuit. I'm sure let's just pause over here. Uh, we need to tell Tracy to blur something, either last names or
Okay,
zip code,
that's fine.
something like
Don't worry about that.
Okay, and I was
Because
gonna go.
yeah, let's not go down the rabbit hole, Lou. Let's think, because Lewis will sit here and do all the legal work, because he's really good at this. So he'll find out the full story just based on public records, and you can
Yeah.
absolutely do this, Justin. So you can sit here and go through the docket and find out exactly what is going on. Me, I prefer to call the person and ask them. Lou can figure it out on the back end because he's that good. He's that smart.
Yeah, usually that's since the way I do is I usually buy foreclosures. I need to know exactly what's going on before I bid on them. So it's easy for me just to go and read and read and read and read and read quick and figure out what's going on. If there's lawsuits, if there's title issues or whatever it is.
For the object
But
of this call, let's stick to the basics. So now we've identified the owner, the property. You've identified the owner. You've identified where their mailing address is. Now you're gonna go ahead and try to reach out. You're going to either try to figure out their contact information online, and social media does work. I know people that will find people on social media and talk to them that
absolutely,
way.
absolutely,
That's the 2022 way. You know,
that's the
we're a
yes,
little bit old school, yeah, but that does work as
Facebook.
well.
It works
The
perfectly.
main point is you want to make contact. You want to let them know, hey, I'm here. How can I add value? Would you be interested in an offer? Would you consider an offer? And then from there, people will tell you where they're at, and then you're going to figure out, hey, is this something that I want to follow up? Maybe they have this legal issue that it looks like they're going on, and they'll tell you, hey, I'm not ready right now. Follow up with me in X amount of time. I will
Yep.
tell you though, in real estate, and I'm sure Ruth can attest to this, follow up is the name of the game. And really, in most sales, I got a stat from a sales manager buddy of mine, and most sales don't get closed until after the ninth touch. So think about that way. The first 5 times that you call them, you're nobody. Then now they're like, oh man, I know this guy. Then little by little, you start to get in there. So make sure you don't just, oh no, they don't want to sell right now and forget about it unless they tell you never call me again. Obviously, you want to respect those wishes.
So on the first, well, you said the first 5 times, you're likely to get rejected, right?
You're that's why I don't want you to make an offer. That's why I just want you to make a connection, and I want you to try to figure out what the issue is and how you can get into the property and just keep building that connection.
Got it. All right.
And that's not to mean that, it doesn't, maybe immediately, yeah, absolutely, meet me tomorrow. Okay, so now you've had 2 connections, and then the third connection will be, when you're presenting your offer, and then now you're going to just follow up to make the rest of those connections. It's like a standard, obviously 80 something percent of sales are closed after the ninth touch. But there is some that you could close right away. Typically those people would have already called the broker and listed it though, if they were really eager to bail out.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
put up for sale by owner or whatever the case may be. So, you're trying to let them know that you're here to offer them a different solution that they may not even have considered.
Got it. Makes
Okay.
sense.
All right. Let's look at the second one. 1996. Amanda, do you have a picture for this one? This is the one where the tree was growing up the gutter.
Yep. Here, let me get this one.
2015, and they bought a scenario. Another thing that you can do that it works great, just Google it. Staples, no.
Okay. All right. This one had a document on the door. I took a picture of that as well.
Okay.
Ooh, that would be great. Those documents are good.
There you go. So let's see. You see the picture from Trulia? Let's see the picture.
Yeah,
Justin.
we're seeing Trulia, and then let's see what
That's the
what
picture.
Justin has there. Yeah. Okay. I remember seeing this one on your Slack post.
Mhm.
Do you have the picture of the document handy?
Yep. Right there.
Yeah, that's-
And then the other one was just a like in case of emergency, call this number.
Yeah, it's this one exactly. That's a great way to know the property is vacant. Okay, it doesn't have to be this damage or whatever, but usually when the property is abandoned, the bank tries to reach the homeowner. If they don't reach the homeowner, they send a preservation team. If the preservation team deems that the property is vacant, they will go in, they will break the locks, they will winterize the home. Okay, whatever winterize means, they drain all the water lines, they shut off all the breakers, they secure the property. In Florida, there's really no winterizing more than just turning off the breakers, but they do leave notes on their doors or on the windows when it's visible from the street, should letting know that whoever is there any kind of emergency, that's the number to call. So you're gonna see this usually here, or you're gonna see it on the door. Okay. Now the second one, let's see what the second one is. Building permit. So this means
That's a really, really old permit.
old permit. It's a really, really old permit. Okay. Wall Electric, they were trying restock of work and paint. So this is 2016, and we said that they bought this home on 20,
It still shows like they own it. That's really strange. It's not owned by a corporation.
2015. They bought it from Fannie Mae. Okay. They bought it from Fannie Mae. It's the same owners. Exactly the same owners.
Where's their mailing address? I can't see there for some reason.
Let's see
Oh, there
that.
it is. Okay, Surfside. Okay, so this is another great candidate, Justin. I'm not really sure what is going on, but I will definitely try to reach out to these people. You have a very old permit, expired permit. This thing probably has all sorts of city and building code violations, and I'm sure there's something going on that you might be able to add value to these homeowners' life by taking this headache off their hands.
Right. I noted, me and my mom were looking at this. So there's a lien for ignored code violation for minimum housing standards.
Yeah,
It's
that makes
fine.
sense. That makes
It's
sense. Yeah.
In North Miami Beach, they're very particular. They drive around on the weekends just to see the properties there. But ask me how I know. That's what I
And
do.
they received another lien for they failed to obtain a required certificate of occupancy when purchasing the house.
That makes sense. If that city has a CO requirement after the sale of a property, that could happen. There's a few cities in Miami-Dade in particular that opted to do this after the foreclosure, where people are doing all kind of illegal additions and things like that. Or it could be because of the permit. Sometimes, depending on the remodel that you're doing, you need a CO after the permit. So the nice thing about those violations, right, when you find them, go through them, read them, because you will find the person's contact information a lot of the time on there.
Correct.
Whether it's just their mailing address, but sometimes it's their phone number, because what happens is if that person ever responds and calls back to the city, they document everything and they put it on the docket. Whenever you call the code enforcement agents, they put it all in there. And if it's a city that keeps all the notes online, which a lot of them do nowadays, you will be.
Miami Beach is really good at that.
Yeah, I've gotten literally the homeowner's cell phone number from those notes. Homeowner blase blase called. This is the callback number. They stated A, B, C, and D. So you can kind of get ahead of the ball, and now you can direct your conversation and ask the right questions versus just, hello, I'm Justin. Can I add value by taking this headache off your hands? Now you can target things a little bit better, with the violation. Is this creating a problem for you? Is this stressing you out? There's a lot of things that you can learn from reading those violations, and it makes you sound a little bit more prepared when you're having that conversation. All of those things go to establishing that rapport.
Got it. And
Okay.
another question,
Mhm.
when you're messaging or reaching out to the person, how long of a message should it be? Because I know, like, if it's too long, like they might not read the whole thing, or too short, not enough information. Like, what is there a perfect amount or anything?
There's no perfect script. We've used a lot of them, especially on texting, but the shorter the better, for sure. So I recently just was talking to a buddy, and we have a couple of them, right, where we introduce ourselves and then we follow it up with, hi, I'm Hector. Would you consider an offer on your home? But I was talking to a buddy who's very effective, and literally all he says is, hello, I'm Hector. I'm buying homes in your neighborhood. Would you consider an offer? That's it. Nice and simple. In this case, let's say you're sending a message to this person. This is your neighborhood. Hey, I'm Justin. I live in the neighborhood, was walking by and I saw your house.
Mhm.
I was wondering if you would consider an offer. Now you're a neighbor. You're somebody who lives by them and sees the home regularly. So you stand out from someone who's in New York making a phone call.
Right. Got it.
And again,
The simple better. Don't get fancy. Don't get complicated. Never make an offer right off the bat. That's never a good idea in my experience.
if you're gonna send a text as a connection, take a picture of the house, send a picture of the house. Okay, say you're there. You really am walking by the neighborhood and I saw it. Okay, that really makes this does a lot. The other thing I was gonna say is that when Hector was talking about the permit, if for some reason the permit, the city information is not correct, I'm sure the contractor will have the contact information of the homeowner, because I'm sure the contractor is owed some money. So they probably will be willing and happy to give you the information, try to solve that problem. Okay, that's another way to get to contact the homeowner. Okay, go through the contractors. The contractors have license. You can research the license and the company information in the state websites and get it from there. And then you reach out and try to get the information for the homeowner. That's
Right.
another way.
All right.
That's
Cool.
true because the contractor's going to get paid, especially if they haven't gotten paid. They're going to get paid when you buy the home from the homeowner.
Exactly.
So, they're not supposed to, but they're probably pretty happy to give you the contact info. They're technically not supposed to, but, they want to
Yeah,
get paid.
you're trying to solve a problem. Again, you're not buying a home. You're solving a problem for someone. That's basically the gist of it. Okay.
What other
Uh,
questions do you have, Justin, as to the process? So let's recap the process. You document the address. You try to locate the owner. You make contact with the owner. You establish rapport. You try to get yourself in there to get an inspection, and then you can come up with an offer.
I mean, it seems pretty simple. It might not be easy, but it seems simple.
It's simple. It's like Jeremy says, we are walking, 10,000 miles. It's simple to walk. Just, walk the 10,000 miles. There are going to be a lot of properties where you're going to hit a wall. Hey, there's always another one. There's always another one. There's always another one. A good thing that I sent you the other day was look into the properties that are going for foreclosure. I sent you the website of the foreclosures of Miami-Dade.
Right.
Those things gets posted 3 months in advance. Okay, usually 90 days. Hey, reach out. Maybe somebody can, you can buy a home. There's a lot of people that specialize in that, buying pre-foreclosure homes directly from the homeowners. Okay, remember, if they go into a foreclosure, the credit gets all messed up, even more than just a few months of delay on payment of the mortgage, and they cannot, they probably cannot get a mortgage in 2 or 3 years, I think it was. So if you buy from them directly, you can negotiate where the bank gets paid. They usually can walk away with a little bit of money. You're buying all from under the whole auction part, which is great, because then when it comes to the auction, you're going to have a lot of competition. So that's another way to find them. Okay. What else? If every time you see a home, like we spoke, every time you see a home where it has documents posted to the windows, same thing, just stop, take a photo picture, write down the address. Doesn't have to be a tree growing in the gutter. Okay, just as soon as you see it, because remember, the bank sends their team, so they might have the grass all cut and nice and pretty, but the property is still abandoned. Okay.
Right. The the document on the door I saw was 2016, right? Or
It's
expired in
really old.
2016?
It's really old. Yeah, permits expired. This one expired on 2016. So they started there, at least they put it in. You see, April 2016. They usually permits expire in 6 months, and after 6 months, you need to renew it and renew it and renew it. And I guess something happened here. Another thing you can do, like Hector said, just go to social media. Maybe you can find the person. Okay, see what's here. Try to find the person and see what's going on. Maybe somebody passed away. Yeah, it could be. And then, nobody else is there to take care of this problem. And, the whole house is in probate. Who knows? Okay. Or maybe some, significant other passed away, or there's a divorce. Or, I mean, life changes and situation changes. And those life changes create opportunities for somebody else. And again, you're trying to take this headache away from them.
Right.
Okay.
I think I don't know exactly what happened. I'm gonna research it, but it was purchased in 2015, and then they got this permit, which is also in 2015, and I think they
Correct.
were trying to build or something like that. So it would be good for my message to try and connect with them and figure out what's going on, so then I
Here,
could.
they bought it in February, okay, of
Right.
2015. And then actually the property was foreclosed on 2015, and then the bank kept it. The bank sold it back as Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae sold it to them in February. The auction was in January. They sold it to them in February. They probably wanted to get in and make it nice and pretty, and something happened.
Right.
Okay. Because again, I mean, why would you have this beautiful house? The other thing, if you go down the rabbit hole, which if you want to do it, I love going to a rabbit hole. You can find, if you do the property search, you can find out if the property is back in foreclosure, if the property has any issues. If there's a lot more stuff that gets published in the public records than what we can infer here. Okay, because we're doing educated guesses. Once you have the information, you can really figure out what's going on, and then call. Okay,
And
that's
just for everyone watching the video, what Lewis means in public record is the clerk of courts. In your county, in your city, wherever you're looking, there is typically a website where all lawsuits and legal documents are kept, and you can usually follow the docket, which has every single document filed for that particular legal case. Justin, do you have any more questions that we want to record, or can I stop the recording?
As of now, I'm good.
Perfect. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video. Once again, this is Hector Hernandez with Real Life Trading. Luis Alejandro Lopez, my partner with Real Life Trading as well. Please remember to hit like and subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed this teaching call with Justin on how to buy zombie homes.